One of my unfulfilled aspirations as a human is to be on The View.
And I'll tell you, there's one other person who should read it. Donald Trump.
No. The answer is no, Chuck Schumer. The Democrats continue to just flail around. They have no idea what to do with President Trump. It is amazing to watch them flail. It truly is. Chuck Schumer, this is an amazing term of offense. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, who is quite awful. He wrote a book about anti-Semitism. Okay, as a Jew. I don't do it as a Jew all that much, actually. But as a Jew, no. The answer is no, Chuck Schumer. You do not get to speak as a Jew about how you're fighting anti-Semitism while you greenlit the Iran nuclear deal, made room for every anti-Israel, anti-Semitic person in your party, refused to condemn the worst excesses of your own party. The answer is no. Absolutely not. Okay, so he actually had to cancel his book tour. Hilariously enough, he did not cancel his book tour because he really shouldn't be speaking about anti-Semitism. Ridiculously, the reason he had to cancel his book tour is because so many Democrats are ticked off at him over greenlighting the continuing resolution, which shows you where the violence is on the American spectrum these days, when even the Senate Minority Leader can't face his own constituents in New York, afraid that they'll yell at him. According to Politico, he's postponing that book tour for security reasons as he faces intense backlash from the party base in the wake of last week's government funding vote. Again, that's pretty incredible. Right-wingers who are canceling events these days, Republican congresspeople, they are doing so because of the violent left. And when Chuck Schumer cancels an event, it's because of, wait for it, the violent left. I wonder who's violent. I was told only the right was violent. The right has a violence problem. Schumer was expected to make several stops in coming days to promote his new book, Anti-Semitism in America, How I Did It. No, sorry, it's called Anti-Semitism in America, A Warning. Due to security concerns, Senator Schumer's book events are now being rescheduled, according to a spokesperson for Schumer. That didn't stop Schumer from appearing on The View. Now, again, I have to admit, I am jealous of Chuck Schumer for appearing on The View. It has been a lifelong, I have a wonderful life. I've gotten so many things I want out of life, and I hope to get many more, and it's a great life. One of my unfulfilled aspirations as a human is to be on The View. It would make some of the best TV ever. It would just be wonderful TV. I mean, kind of intellectually clubbing a baby seal, but amazing TV. Chuck Schumer was invited, not because he's a woman. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. Only he can identify, but he was invited to talk about all of this, where he then explained why he had not signed on to the filibuster of the continuing resolution.
There's no exit strategy. How do you get out of a shutdown? Guess who determines it? Trump, Musk, Doge. They're the only ones. And one of the Republican senators told one of the Democratic senators, you get in this, we're staying in for 6 months, 9 months, a year, till we decimate the entire federal government. Can I do a follow?
Okay, so that's actually not a horrible explanation of why he voted in favor of the continuing resolution. If the government had shut down, Trump would have the ability to decide who the essential workers were and then fire a bunch of people. So that's actually a pretty good explanation. However, Sunny Hostin was having none of it. She ripped into Schumer. She's really mad because if Trump says black, you have to say white. If Trump says day, you say night. That's how it works.
Governor Pritzker's chief of staff, Ann Caprara, has said the following. The fight going on in the Democratic Party right now is not between hard left, right, and moderate. It's between those who want to fight and those who want to cave. And it gives me no pleasure to say this to you because we are friends, but I think you caved. I think you and 9 other Democrats caved. I don't think you showed the fight that this party needs right now because you're playing by a rule book where the other party has thrown that rule book away.
True.
And so in my view, what you did really was in supporting that GOP partisan bill that Democrats had no input in, you cleared the way for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to gut Social Security, to gut Medicare, to gut Medicaid. Why did you lead Democratic senators to play by that book that the Republicans are not playing by?
Tax season is now upon us, and while we may be weary of numbers, some deserve our immediate attention, like the $16.5 billion in IRS refunds flagged for potential identity fraud last year. Identity theft tax fraud surged by an alarming 20% in 2024 alone, affecting thousands of unsuspecting Americans. There is some hope in these numbers as well. LifeLock vigilantly monitors 100 million data points every second, creating a shield around your financial identity when it matters most. Their sophisticated systems work tirelessly to protect your personal information. Should the worst happen, their dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists will make it right backed by their comprehensive $1 million protection package. They don't just promise help, they guarantee restoration or your money back, no questions asked. One of my producers, Jess, uses LifeLock. She's emphasized the peace of mind that comes with knowing that the experts are monitoring her information for suspicious activity. This tax season and beyond, do not face the growing threat of identity theft alone. Find peace of mind and unmatched security with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, because your financial identity deserves nothing less. Join now. Save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code BEN, or go to lifelock.com/Ben for 40% off. Terms apply. All right, so that's the battle inside the Democratic Party, and it's going great. If you thought that Chuck Schumer, however, was the reasonable side of the Democratic Party, I beg to differ. Here he was explaining that Americans are stupid. He was mocking Americans who want to keep their money.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, my the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Oh, man. I mean, the fists of uniting. Wow. Go Power Rangers. But let me just put out there that that's actually my viewpoint. We, our team, built this entire company. The government did not help us. The government provided the basic law and order necessary to the preservation of private property in the United States and the protection of free speech. Those were the things. That's all the things. We built it, not Chuck Schumer. He is not entitled to our money. Chuck Schumer is not entitled to the money that I've earned on behalf of my family. He is not entitled, and I don't think many Americans believe that Chuck Schumer is entitled to that money or that he's likely to use it in good ways. So again, the Democrats, they cannot help themselves. Even the divide inside Chuck Schumer is pretty amusing. Meanwhile, the 2028 race is getting significantly more amusing on the Democratic side of the aisle, I do have to say. So Gavin Newsom is trying a sort of late turn in time to become a moderate. It's really funny. So he has his new podcast, and he had on my friend Charlie Kirk, and Charlie really kind of ripped him up. And then he had on Steve Bannon, and he played footsie with Bannon. And this caused him to be ripped up and down by the inflatable off the side of the freeway to use car lot, Tim Walz. You remember him. He ran for vice president that one time. He was real weird. Here was Tim Walz with Gavin Newsom. Newsom praising Steve Bannon as a person who he can talk with and who really reflects a lot of democratic principles.
How do we move some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have to first understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't
I think
that's racism and misogyny?
I think there's a lot of that, but I don't think it's exclusively that. When you talk to a guy like Steve Bannon, he reminded me a little bit of my grandfather when he talks about working folks and he talks about how we hollowed out the industrial core of this country.
But I
understand that. But we can dismiss the notion of election denialism. We could completely dismiss what he did on January 6th, but I don't think you can dismiss what he's saying. Reminds me a lot of what Bernie Sanders was saying. Reminds me a lot of what Democrats said 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, man, I'm up for these fights between Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz. Walz, by the way, is now walking around saying that he can kick Trump supporters' asses, which ones? Can we name them? Like, really? Like, you, sir? Okay.
How do you fight it?
This
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they want to do it. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here, type of thing.
These are the 2028 candidates, guys. They're doing great. They're just doing amazing. Well, that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. Be sure to check out all of the other great content on my channel. I'll see you here next time.